Evaluate Geno's night.
He did okay. We needed to come through. We need to help him a little bit. We need to make the plays around him too. And we missed a block on the screen, and we missed a third down conversion, and there's another one in there. He's running the show well. He's doing okay. Got out of the pocket, when he needed to, and threw a couple of really good balls that could have been converted. We got to come through for him. Our receivers got to make the plays for him, and we need to see DK and Locke and the fellas out there. We're going to count on DK and Locke, and Marquise has got a chance to help us, and Eskridge got a chance. Eskridge has a chance to come back this week. We need those guys to come through if he's going to be good. Tight ends did a nice job. Really big play by Colby tonight. So there's some bright spots.
Pete Carroll on the performance of Geno Smith. Completed 10 of 18 passes for 112 yards. Couple of drops. No points in 5 drives. And Geno Smith returned from halftime with an ice bag on his knee. Pete Carroll said that Geno Smith banged his knee, could have gone back in if need be. I've already seen some voices in Seattle arguing that Drew Lock improved his status on the depth chart by not playing last night because Geno was just uninspiring. But like Pete Carroll said, if he's running the offense and other guys aren't doing their jobs, it drags down the quarterback and it makes it look like the quarterback failed. But if everybody else is doing what they're supposed to do, the quarterback looks like he's thrived. So that's really, it's one of the realities of preseason. When you don't play the whole game, you don't get into a flow of the game, you don't have adjustments, you don't see what a guy does in crunch time, you don't see how a team overcomes adversity. It really is a weird existence. And he had limited time with Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf, who weren't supposed to play, ended up playing 3 snaps, and DK Metcalf was pretending to be upset about it when he was interviewed at halftime, or not at halftime, but on the sideline. So I don't know what to make of any of it. I still think that Pete Carroll wants Geno Smith to be the Week 1 starter, and I think he will be.
Yeah, I do too, Mike. And it was really a weird first half for the Seahawks because they had a run of 33 yards. They had passes of 29 and 41 and had no points. They did miss a field goal. They had more yards than the Bears had, and they trailed at halftime. So it was a weird game, I think, for the Seahawks. And, we were debating on the PFT string earlier this week about the Seahawks, and I just think the 2 teams that we saw yesterday are going to be 2 of the worst teams in the NFL this season. I don't know that it matters who starts for them at quarterback. I think, in fact, the more games they lose is probably better for the Seahawks simply because you don't want to be in that 7, 8, 9 range, Mike, and not get in the postseason, and you don't have a good draft position. I mean, if you're going to be mediocre, you need to be really bad so that you get one of those higher picks and you get one of those quarterbacks who's coming out next year and you start over in rebuilding this team. So it might be better for them in the long term to have one of those seasons when they're just not very good and get that higher pick and get the quarterback. But you know what? If Geno Smith starts and plays well and this team does well, then they have their quarterback. So he's going to get his opportunity, I think. I think he will start Week 1. I mean, just based on what Pete Carroll has said all along now about he's our number 1 guy. He's in the lead. He knows this offense better than Drew Lock does. And now with Lock out with COVID, I just think Geno's going to be their guy in Week 1.
For a moment or two there, I think Stephen Ross, if he's listening, and good morning, Stephen, how are you? I think if he's listening, he's saying, that's all I was doing. That's all I was trying to do. I was just accepting the fact that if we're not going to be very good, what's the point of winning 7 games? Let's go ahead and win none and get the first overall pick in the draft. I disagree with you. I think the Seahawks are going to be better than people realize, and I think the fact that they're being written off is going to play to their advantage. They've always been competitive under Pete Carroll, and I think he's determined this year to prove that he can do it without Russell Wilson. We saw 9 snaps last night from Justin Fields, the Bears quarterback. It's impossible to really get a feel for where a guy is. And I don't know that we're going to until Week 1 when San Francisco comes to town, when the game counts.
All I got out of that was, as much as they rolled him out, is they don't trust their offensive line, and I wouldn't trust it either, and they didn't want Justin Fields to take any hits. So he was rolling out of that pocket a lot, and I think we're going to see that a lot this season. Mike, I kind of feel sorry for him because that offensive line is just not very good.
And the problem when you roll out like that, you limit yourself to two options, one short and one deeper down the field. Look, we've seen it in the last couple of plays. You're taking away half the field when you do that. But if that's the only way that your guy is going to be able to have any time whatsoever to do anything, so be it. And that's very different from Patrick Mahomes starting in the pocket and then breaking one way or the other because he has to or he sees an opportunity. And with Mahomes, even if he's on the left side, the ball can end up over here. For these designed rollouts, and you can just tell by the way it's happening, that's the way the play has been drawn up. You're cutting the field in half, and you're making it harder to operate your offense. By the way, Damian Lewis, Seahawks offensive lineman, was carted off with an ankle injury. They put an air cast on him. It looked bad. Carroll said after the game he was very, very fortunate to avoid major injury. X-rays negative.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.